Good morning, you guys, and welcome to our show. Today we have with us the resilient Amberly Lago. Amberly Lago is a health and wellness coach, TEDx speaker, podcaster, and leading expert in the field of resilience and transformation. She's a best-selling author of True Grit and Grace and empowers people around the world by sharing her story of how she turned a tragedy into triumph. Through her book, coaching methods, and workshops, she has curated unique tools to teach others how to tap into their superpower of resilience and perseverance through any of life's challenges. She offers hope and solutions for anyone living in chronic pain to live their life to the fullest. So, Amberly Lago, welcome to our show.
Oh, good morning. So grateful to be here with you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to start my day with you. I've been looking forward to this and I'm so happy to see all your faces. And it's funny when you're reading my bio, I was like, I only know about resilience because I have fallen and been felt broken and been broken and hit rock bottom a few times. And so I learned a lot about resilience because of those things. And so I'm happy to be here with y'all because I think right now, like I'm in California and we're still pretty locked down. So just being able to connect with you here and go over some tips and tools on how to be resilient, because I feel like the past about year has been challenging. So thank you so much for having me here. I'm grateful to start my day with you.
You know what? We're so grateful to have you, and just to, like you said, to just have like meaningful and powerful connections with people. It's like when you see somebody, it's like until you hear their story, something that we always say is that you have so much in common with other people, but it's not until you start sharing stories that you start realizing, like, man, we have so much in common. So why don't we kick off this party by, you talking about what were some of the tragic stories, mind you, that led you to really cultivating and tap into your superpower of resiliency?
Well, you know what? I'm so glad, and you guys, it's so good to see everybody. I see that I'm looking in the comments and see that you're from California, Illinois, Michigan, Bay Area, Danville. I know where all those places are, and it's so good to see your smiling faces. And I love that you said when we share our story, because we all have a story. And for me, for a long time, I felt like I was the only person experiencing this great pain. And I would try to like pretend like everything was okay on the outside. And on the inside, I just felt like I was dying. And so once I started to share my story, I was able to connect with other like minded people. And I realized we're never alone on this journey. And there is someone out there that is going through something really similar, even as similar as my story. I mean, I was a professional dancer, then a fitness trainer. Fitness was my life. I mean, I grew up running track. I even like set a record for in Texas for running the fastest mile, and I'm sure that was beaten like 40 years ago. But
Wait,
it was
wait, but what was
something.
your time?
5:02
For one
for
mile?
for the mile.
Wow.
Yeah, for the mile. But you know what's so funny about that? So I was in a relay or a tag marathon for the Jimmy Stewart Marathon years ago. And the guys on the team asked me to be on the team. So if they had a girl on the team, they got like a little bit of a head start. So I don't think they realized or had enough faith in me that I was going to actually run fast, and I ran the mile. I trained for that for so long, and I ran a 5-minute mile on that one. And I came back with a baton and I was expecting people to cheer me on. And the guy, the next leg, was like in his chair drinking hot chocolate. My friends weren't there. I was like, way to have some faith in me. Like, grab the baton and keep running. So yeah, I loved to run. Running was my therapy. I didn't realize till I had a horrible accident and I was stuck in a hospital bed that I ran literally for everything, for anxiety. I ran from shame. I ran from sadness. And it wasn't until after I had a successful career. I had trainers that worked with me. I was sponsored by Nike. Um, I was doing fitness models. I don't know if y'all remember Jake. I did a infomercial for Body by Jake. That's like back in the day. I was even on vitamin labels. Like I did this infomercial and I went to the Rite Aid one day and I was like, oh my gosh, they put my picture on all the vitamin bottles. So I was like, it was my life. And and that infomercial, by the way, was called Hot Mommies. It was so silly, so cheesy. But that all changed in the blink of an eye when I was coming home from work on my motorcycle and an SUV shot out of a parking lot, T-boned me. I was hit, thrown about 30 feet, and I was sliding across the asphalt on this busy street. And all I could think about was, oh gosh, please don't let another car hit me. I couldn't tell what I was sliding into. And when I came to a stop, I looked down at my leg and it was just broken into pieces. My foot was dangling off. And I won't get too much into details because I see some of you eating breakfast and having coffee. But I only looked down once because it's crazy to look down at your leg and see it. I didn't want to let go of it. I felt like my leggings were the only thing keeping it together. So I was rushed to the hospital and put in induced coma because I was literally dying from all the blood loss, and I was going into shock and they couldn't control my pain. When I woke up from a coma, the first thing I learned was, sorry, we're going to have to amputate your leg. You've got a 1% chance of saving your leg. It's like a war wound. There's nothing we can do for you. And I was like, as a runner, that was my livelihood. It was my therapy. Like I just saw my whole life flash before my eyes. And I was like, wait a minute, you said 1%. So there's still a chance. And we need to find a doctor that's going to take that chance with me. And so I chose to hang on to that 1%. That was my glimmer of hope. And I think when we're going through a tough time, if we can just hang on to that glimmer of hope, even if it's a glimmer, to hang on to that, because that is what got me through 34 surgeries and months in the hospital and thousands of hours of excruciating physical therapy, but they were able to save my leg. And so it's been truly a journey to have to reinvent myself because as a result of the trauma, I was diagnosed with a disease called complex regional pain syndrome and told I would be wheelchair bound for the rest of my life. And you can relate to this, I'm sure, because of your fitness and what you do for a living and how you love to work out. Because I was eyeballing your gorgeous legs and arms on Instagram yesterday, and I was like, oh, look at her legs. When I was laying in the hospital bed, I remember, I didn't sleep because at night they would come and have to change the bandages, and my leg was held together with these metal rods and completely open and exposed. And so they would have to change these bandages to try to, for the risk of infection. And I remember watching TV and there was this infomercial on, and it was how to get a Brazilian butt. And I was like, oh my God, look at those gorgeous girls. Like, I will never have a Brazilian butt. What if I never wear a bikini again? My leg's going to be all scarred up. Am I going to be able to walk again? Am I going to be able to chase after my daughter, who was only 2 at the time? And I started spiraling down into this, like, what if, and a victim mentality, and why me, and all these things. And I had to stop myself and go, wait a minute. I got a choice here. Like I can keep going down that road of despair, or I can choose to focus on the things that I can do and what I do have. And how I did that was I started writing down everything I was grateful for. And I noticed how gratitude really shifts your perspective on things. I mean, instead of looking down at my leg and wondering, okay, is today the day they're going to amputate it? I was grateful for the view from the hospital room, the flowers, for the incredible nurses that I had, that I was alive, that I could breathe, that I still had both my legs. And gratitude is something that I still practice. And I say practice because it does take practice, because some days are just hard and you're like, today's hard, life sucks. I don't know if I can be grateful, but there's always something to be grateful for. And gratitude is alchemy. It really turns what you can't do into what you can do, and what you don't have into what you do have. And I still reach out to my best friend, who we text each other every morning, and we take a screenshot. Actually, I just texted her right before this, and this is the book I read today, and I read something different every day, and we'll just take a screenshot of something that we've read out of either a self-development book or an inspirational book or spiritual book. And then we'll write 3 things that we're grateful for. And I think it's really different when you can wake up. I say a prayer, and y'all, let me tell you, some mornings I wake up and my husband's snoring, and I'm like, good God, he's snoring again. But then I have to shift it and say, you know what? Good morning, God. Thank you. He's breathing. And it's amazing. It's the quickest way to shift your perspective. And I use gratitude throughout my day. Then I write about it. I text my friend about it. And then, one of the things I texted her this morning was, I am so grateful that I am sober and I wake up now without a hangover, and I get to go hang out with beautiful, like-minded people. And so I'm just curious to see if you guys start out with a morning ritual or gratitude. Um, will you drop a little comment in the chat and let me know? Do you practice a morning ritual and journal, or something that you like to do to start your day? Just write a yes. Oh, I love gratitude list every morning.
Amberly, before we get to these comments too, I want to ask you probably a question you've never been asked in any interview, but can you stand up out of your chair?
Of course I can. And you know what? It's a good thing I have pants on, by the way. Because there are some days when it's a zoom from the head up. I'm standing up, I have pants on, but you know what? I'll even show you my fancy socks and my leg.
all I wanted, like, if we're talking about gratitude, like, she was told that's
my leg. Wait, can I just show you a fancy trick? I've never done this ever on any interview. Go. This is miraculous. Okay. So first of all, it's a freaking miracle that I can stand, because I had a doctor tell me, you will be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. You're never going to work again. You're going to be permanently disabled. And I was crushed. And I was like, that cannot be my life. Look, there's nothing wrong with being in a wheelchair. My little brother has been in a wheelchair his whole life, but I didn't want that for me. And so it has taken a lot of grit to get up again and to walk again. I had to learn to walk again, and it has been pain, and I'm still in pain. I still have pain, but I've learned to find joy and find meaningful, incredible moments in life, like I am with y'all. But I've never done this before on an interview. So I had a muscle flap. They had to take half of my calf and flip it to the front of my leg. And they said, once you do that, you'll never be able to use your calf muscle again. And this is kind of like a cool bar trick if I ever went to a bar, but I don't go to bars. But I can move my calf in the front of my leg. Whoa. So my calf muscle, I don't know if you can see, my calf muscle is here, and I can move it. Can y'all see that? I know it's crazy, but here's the other side of my leg. This is the part that was completely open. And then my ankles fused, and I went to the doctor and I was like, Doc, look at this. I can actually move my calf muscle in the front of my leg. And he goes, no, that's not possible after a muscle flap. And I'm like, no, I am serious. Watch this. And he just looked at me and he's like, oh, and like he didn't say it. He didn't know what to say. And so, I believe in miracles, and I believe that anything is possible. And that starts with your mindset, starts with prayer, and it starts with faith and a community of people. Cause I would not be where I am today without an incredible support system in my life that I still have, which honestly it was hard for me. That's a whole other thing we can talk about. I was so afraid to ask for help, to tell people that I was in pain, to tell people, and that led me to a rock bottom. I was, y'all, I said I was grateful to be sober. I wasn't a drinker. I was not a partier. I was all about career and work. And I am, different from a lot of addiction in my family. I was the go-getter. And when you deal with constant chronic pain that is, it's dubbed the suicide disease because there's no known cure, and it's ranked higher than passing a kidney stone or having a kid. And I've done both of those, and I can tell you that some days the pain is on that level. I started drinking to try to cope, and I think a lot of us, whether you have chronic pain or any kind of pain, whether it's a struggle right now through COVID, or uh, so many people have lost their jobs, and so many people have lost their lives. I mean, my little brother had COVID and he made it through. I think, a lot of times we'll eat too much or drink too much or shop or worry about other people and their problems too much instead of looking at our own. And so it's been a process of acceptance, of really owning who I am. And let me tell you, years ago, there's no way I could have even stood up in front of you. And then when I could stand up, there is no way I would ever show my scars. And so it's definitely a journey. But thanks for asking me to stand up. I bet you weren't expecting to see these fancy unicorn socks, were you?
I love them. And you know
These,
what? The reason that I asked you to do that is because when we think about gratitude, is like, what am I grateful for? Dude, the fact that you were told you're going to be in the wheelchair for the rest of your life and stand up, I thought it would be very empowering to be like, wow, look, for one, I believe that I fully believe that the universe or God or whatever higher power, if you believe in that, will give the people who choose to have the attitude of gratitude and use their adversities and their stories to benefit the lives of other people. And that's why I fully believe that that's why you are able to walk. That's why you have your leg. That's why you're not in a wheelchair, is because your choice is to focus on the things that are better and the things that are and the parts of your story that are going to lift people up and help them to be better in their own lives.
well, thank you. What really, well, first of all, acceptance, because y'all, for a long time, I hated my leg. I hated myself. I mean, I had lost everything after my accident. We had $2.9 million worth of medical expenses. We had a lien on our house trying to pay for treatments that weren't covered by insurance. I was on 73 homeopathic pills and 11 different prescriptions every day. And I got to the point after they had saved my leg and it was giving me so much pain, I had this brilliant idea. I was like, I'm going to go to the doctor and just tell him to cut it off because I can't deal with the pain. And I went to him and he did something that really changed my life. And instead of cutting it off, he's like, well, we can't do that. That's not a solution. You've got CRPS now and it could make it worse. But he took my leg and he put it in his lap. And I remember when he put my leg in his lap, thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's touching my disgusting leg and putting it on his nice white coat. And he did something where he looked at my leg like it was a masterpiece, like it was his masterpiece. It was the 1% that he, although it was full of metal and deformed, it was like, it was a miracle that I still had it. And the way he looked at it, I was like, I started crying. I mean, it gets me emotional when I think about this moment because it was life changing. I believe sometimes we need people to believe in us or to love us before we can even, for me, it helped me love myself more. It helped me believe in myself more. And I thought, well, if he can look at it that way, maybe I can learn to look at it and love it too. And and little by little, it was hard at first, but little by little, I started to accept it. But I still didn't show my scars and talk about it much until one day a friend texted me. She was a friend. She knew I'd been through a lot of surgeries. And she texted me and she goes, well, must be nice. You have a husband and kids, and you're busy doing all these motivational talks all over the place. Must be nice. And I see your book is doing well too. And I don't know, it was that must be nice thing that kind of set me off. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just share what my life is about. Because, I think when we look on Instagram, sometimes it looks all shiny and perfect and like everybody's life is so glamorous. And so I just got the video and I filmed my leg that day. I was having a really bad flare up and my calf muscle in the front of my leg was twitching. And I filmed my leg and I said, well, this is what I deal with on a daily basis. I'm in extreme pain, but I'm going to take an Epsom salt bath and I'm going to do this, this, and this. And I know it's going to get better, but this is what I do to get through it. Y'all, that video got like thousands of views because people were like, wow, thank you for showing your scars. That gives me hope that I can heal too. And it was a way. I love how you guys talk about sharing your story because and when I was able to share my story, I met the most amazing people that I could really connect with that were going through struggles themselves, and we were able to connect and lift each other up. And so it's been a process of acceptance and getting really grounded every day with gratitude and just being me, when you can just be authentically you and show up and be in full acceptance of any imperfections. There's nothing anybody can say that's gonna like, people can say, like, I posted my leg on TikTok. I was doing a tap dance and it was the first time I ever danced. It took 10 years, but I put my tap shoes on and I was able to tap dance with a fused ankle and even having metal in my toes. And I think it's really important to share from a scar and not an open wound. Because if I would have shared that video and saw some of the comments when I was still really raw and really vulnerable, I don't think I ever would have shared again. So I think it's important to share with a community like this where you feel safe with each other, each other, you got each other's backs. And so you guys are doing such an incredible job of showing up here and showing up for each other and just keep showing up and shining. I some days get hard. I love mantras and I want to share one that I read and I write it down because it helps me on days where I'm, feeling like I have imposter syndrome or like I don't have the confidence. I always say, I am fearlessly visible. I boldly shine my light. So I am fearlessly visible. I boldly shine my light. That helps me get through the day. I also have, you got this on my business cards, on my stationery, on my office wall, just so I can be reminded. And my best friend texts me before I do any big presentation or something. You got this. And sometimes that's all you need to hear is a little mantra or a little reminder from a friend. Yeah, so I love this group. I'm reading some of the powerful comments that you're leaving in the chat from Tammy. And Tawny, thank y'all so much for being here. Teresa.
Amberly, I wanna ask you a couple of questions and kind of like dive into your brain a little bit so that maybe like we can also give the audience some tools because I've been through a rut before. We all have, and I feel like when you're in a rut, like you feel like you have it worse until like you open your mind to a divine intervention, and then it's like suddenly like opportunities start popping up. But if you can kind of like walk us through the process of what went inside your head, like right after you've been given the news, and you were told that you have a 1% chance of actually like being able to reconstruct your leg, until until that moment where you had that divine intervention where like the doctor just like embraced your leg and you're like, wow, like I need to just love this for what I have and for who I am. Like that entire journey, if you could walk us through that, that will be amazing.
Yeah, well, if I would have known that I was going to have 34 surgeries, I might have said, oh gosh, y'all go ahead and take it. So I think it's really important to focus on anything when you've got big goals. It's like when I have clients of mine come and they're like, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds, or a client that I coach and they're like, oh, I want to talk on stage with Mel Robbins. I'm like, well, we got to start with these really small goals that are attainable and focus on one day at a time. I mean, it's great to have big lofty goals, but how I get through and get, even now I've still got big goals, but I have to focus on what I can do every single day. So, first of all, I pray every day. Prayer, like my connection, I call God, whether you want to call it universe, spirit. My good friend Shannon, I don't know if y'all know Shannon Parsons, but I love her. She's one of my best friends, and she's like, let Gus drive the bus. So, God, universe, spirit, let Gus drive the bus. And so, I pray, and then I would set these small goals for myself. And so when I first got out of the hospital, I had a hospital bed that was downstairs in our living room. And, I had went from being extremely fit to now all of a sudden they're trying to figure out how they can get a grip on my bed sores, because that could really cause, I could go septic from an infected bed sore. So I had bed sores, couldn't use the bathroom on my own, had to depend on someone to carry my bedpan for me, which is very humbling to have to use the bathroom in your living room and have, here, can you take this for me? And so my big goals at first were just to stand up for seconds at a time, and which was very challenging because of the pain it caused. And so I think I had to focus on why I wanted to be able to stand up. Well, that I wanted to be able to eventually chase after my daughter someday. I wanted to be able to get to work someday. But in order to do that, I had to set up these small goals. Okay, today I'm going to stand up for 10 seconds. And I would literally stand up and count 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3. And I would sit down and hold my leg up, and I would just pray for the pain to ease up. And the next day I'd stand up a little bit longer. Then I'd be like, okay, I think I can walk on crutches for about 5 feet. And so I would literally set these small goals. And this might seem completely wacky or crazy or cheesy, but one of my first goals was to be able to use a bathroom on my own. And that meant being able to, with my crutches, go around the corner, stand up long enough, sit down, prop my leg up. So I had a stool in front of the toilet. And I know I'm getting really graphic here, but it's really about breaking down those goals and focusing on what you can do every single day. And it's so important to have people around you that are passionate and inspired and they believe in you, because I was really struggling to get through each day, and I didn't have the energy to be around someone that was going to be mean or be negative, or it just sucked the energy out of me. So I had to be really careful who I surrounded myself around. And now to this day, I still go through a process where um, I need one word to kind of like, if I'm struggling, to stop me dead in my tracks, to remind me, okay, how can I be resilient? And y'all, I'm not unique. We're all the same. We're all connected in some way, and we all have this ability to tap into our resilience. And the good thing is, resilience was probably once I realized that was something that we could build, I was like, oh, there's a solution. If I hang on to hope, if I pray, and if I get gritty and tap into my resilience, I'm going to get through these challenges, whether it was my personal, professional, anything I was going through. And so I teach something called PACER, and it stands for perspective, acceptance, community, endurance, and rest. And so that perspective is the quickest and easiest thing that you can do to shift your mindset, and to really change the way you see things. Because it's not necessarily what's happening in our life, but it's how we view it. And the easiest way to shift your perspective is to get grateful, to hunt for the good, like really search for the good, and to count your blessings. And let me tell you, your hard work puts you where your blessings can find you. So if you keep showing up and you just keep doing that work, tapping into that grit every single day, those blessings will find you. Things will come to you. And the next part of PACER is acceptance. And we talked about that a little bit already. And acceptance, I felt like a little bit when I first started, meant like defeat. Like I did not want to admit that I had this nerve disease. I did not want to show my scars. I didn't want to admit that I was in pain. I thought that by sharing my vulnerabilities, it meant I was weak. I mean, I grew up in Texas where it was all about cowgirl up, get her done, and hide your crazy and be a lady. And so I didn't want anybody to see my crazy. And now I'm like, you know what? Just let the crazy come out, because that's who I am. And so um, acceptance was really the beginning it's really the beginning of any healing journey, of any transformational journey. Because when you can take a good, hard look at your life, and I mean, really, today, I want you to look at your life. What is going on in your life that maybe is not working for you? And we all know deep down in our gut what's working and what's not working. And for me, I knew there were huge things, habits, things that I was doing that just, it was not working for me. And, you have to ask yourself, I ask myself this now all the time, how's that working for you? Is that moving you closer to your goal? Is that moving the needle on your business? Is it moving you closer to your fitness goals, to your healthy life? Or is it holding you back? Everything that you do is either working for you or against you. I mean, that goes for what you're eating, what you're doing, the people you're hanging around, all goes for you or against you. So being in acceptance really allows you to take an action plan to start to make your life the best that it can be. And then once you are aware and you're in acceptance, and you can start sharing your journey, that's where it leads you to your community. The next part of PACER is community. And I think that community might be the most powerful part of PACER, because I tried doing it alone and it just didn't work. And I need connection, and the opposite of pain and addiction is connection. And so, but I mean, you guys are incredible, and it's so great that y'all have each other in this community. And when, alone, yeah, we're strong, but together we're unstoppable. And so, and through all these challenges that, especially that we're facing right now with the pandemic, it takes a lot of endurance. And that's the next part of PACER, is endurance. And that's really where your passion and your perseverance come into play. That's where you tap into your grit. and just keep going. Even when it gets hard, you keep going. And what helps you with that, because look, we won't always be motivated to, go for that run or lift the weights or write that scary email for the job interview or whatever it is. But if you just keep focusing on what is your why, for me, what gets me fired up and pumped up is when I think about why I even started on this journey, why I even decided to write a book. And it's because I am so passionate about sharing the hope that was given to me and sharing the inspiration. And when I see other people that are like, yeah, man, I did not give up because I read your book or whatever, or something I heard you say, that gives me joy and that gives me the strength to carry on. But it's not always about like pushing and pushing and pushing. I love the grit. I love going fast. I love adrenaline. I love going. But I learned the hard way, and I almost called this the pace method and not the pacer method. But I learned that rest is a necessity if we want to be resilient. So if you really want to be resilient, you sometimes have to strategically stop and plan times in your journal, in your day. Y'all, I'm old school. Like, I still have a calendar with things written out and highlighted. And if I didn't write on my calendar for me to take a lunch break or for me to work out or for my, some time to rest, I even have it on my phone, an alarm. My phone starts flashing at night, like, okay, time to shut it down, time to disconnect from all your devices, start slowing your mind down. And, a lot of times, if we can just slow down and listen to our body our body speaks to us. And it's a whisper, then it's a scream. And for me, it ended up being trips to the ER several times. And when I finally decided to add that R on the end of pacer, it was because the year before COVID, the sixth time I was in the ER because of infection, because my body was so run down and I'm susceptible to infections in my leg. The doctor looked at me and was like, you need to rest. And I was like, it came out differently from hearing, my husband would tell me that all the time. People would tell me, slow down, Amberly, slow down. And it took the doctor to say, you really need to rest. And so resting is about finding times to restore and rejuvenate. It's really needs to be talked about as not a luxury, but a necessity. So I hope that if you're ever feeling sad or struggling or feeling, like I was, like, how am I going to get through? How am I going to get through the pain? How am I going to keep going? I hope that you can remember PACER: perspective, acceptance, community, endurance, and rest, and take those things. And if you're doing those things, it is going to strengthen your resilience, and it is going to allow you to keep moving forward. So I hope that helped. And I love seeing all you drop these comments. Thank you so much for being so engaged and for being here. I love seeing your faces.
Thank you so much for sharing this. This was like, I was going to ask you, like, if you could give us like a 101 of how does one become resilient? And you just like took it upon yourself. So really, really appreciate it. But, you're also an expert in the weight loss industry. So, from one coach to another, I feel like I want to diverge a little bit, and this will be a really good conversation. But from what you've seen from your clients, how much of weight gain do you think that is actually mindset versus anything else in the 21st century?
I would say, 90%.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that sometimes there are, real health issues that uh, cause weight gain, medications that cause weight gain. But I will tell you something. When I first got out of the hospital, they put me on a medication called Lyrica because for the nerve pain. And by the way, your dog is the cutest thing ever. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
So
He just
cute.
asked to climb up on me. And
So cute. I love it. But they put me on this medication called Lyrica, and the main side effect is weight gain. And so one of the worst things you can do is like Google stuff and see worst case scenarios. And I was like, holy cow, this lady gained 100 pounds. I'm going to gain 100 pounds. I'm going to gain 50 pounds. I was like, I'm going to be fat. It's hard. I can't run the way that I used to and exercise. I got to really focus on my food. But something that the doctor, so they sent me to this shrink like right after I had every single doctor saying, you're going to need to be on antidepressants because you're a mess. You're screwed. And so I was like, I know if I can just work out, I'll feel better. And they're like, well, you're crazy if you have to work out to feel better. But that was my medicine. And this one shrink told me, I said, well, I'm really freaked out. I don't want to gain all this weight. And the main side effect of this medication is weight gain. And he said, well, that's a pill. And you have the choice to decide what you're going to eat. So maybe you might have to not eat quite as much and get a little more focused on your food and get healthy. And that really empowered me because I felt out of control having somebody else tell me you have to take this and it's going to make you gain weight. But when he shifted it, I was like, wait a minute. I'm in the driver's seat. I control what I eat. And I have to say, it was probably borderline like food disorder. I mean, it was eating disorder a little bit because I was obsessed with eating healthy. And if I overate, then I would go run more. Well, now I'm in a position where I really can't do that anymore. I can run, but not like I used to. And I don't run for cardio. So I got super focused on my food, and I used to have trigger food. I mean, I'm sure they're still triggered. Actually, I don't think they are. I think I've gotten over that because I have waffles in the house now. But I have something that's called trigger foods. And I don't know if any of you have those foods where if you eat just one, it's like it triggers you and you're like all of a sudden you want to binge eat the whole box of waffles or the whole box of cereal or, the whole bag of Doritos. So for a long time, I couldn't have those in the house. So if it's going to tempt you or trigger you, don't have it in the house. And I know that's sometimes hard when you've got kids because it's like I have some junk food and then all organic healthy food. But when I did get those out of the house and I could start to develop those healthier habits, I don't want that food anymore. I don't want to go there anymore. And I will say that the mindset is everything, because what you believe, you start to create in your life. You start to create those habits. And even if you don't believe it right away, if you keep telling yourself and through your writing, through your affirmation, and I mean, stand up and say it and do it and declare it, and you will start to believe it. And once you start to believe it's possible, whether it's losing weight or whatever your fitness goals are, then you can start to achieve it and you develop those habits and it's a part of your life. I don't even like saying diet. I really don't like diet. I think it's a lifestyle. I think it's a choice. And I think that when you realize you have a choice, you take your power back. So it's time to take your power back. And that might be hard at first to shift those unhealthy habits. But if you can start to do that every single day, that's when you start to see the change. But man, it's all about mindset. I think mindset, whether, my daughter's an equestrian and she rides like a freaking rock star when she's confident. When she's had a bad day, her horse feels it and her horse won't go over the jumps. So much of what we do in our life, whether it's our eating, whether it's, it impacts our lives, the way we parent, the way we love, our relationships, the way we lead. it's all affected by our mindset and the stories that we tell ourselves. So I'd suggest you to really, if you've got that inner critic, I've got a mean, loud inner critic. I have to tame that inner critic, and I start talking to myself instead of listening. So that inner critic will say, oh, well, you're just not good enough. Maybe you're just not strong enough. Maybe it's that not enough thing. And I have to go, nope, I got this. I'm strong. I'm confident. I've done hard things before, and I can get through this right now.
Oh man, that is so powerful. And you were touching upon it in the pacer method, but this is where the power of community comes in too, where it's just like, how do you raise your level of belief when you're feeling a certain way and you don't know in the moment like what looks different, be it like you've had a tragic event that you're looking to heal out of, or you want to lose, be it 50 pounds or 100 pounds, you're like, I can't see it right now. And this is where environment comes in, and just having absolutely no tolerance for negativity or people who just ignore you, make you feel like shit, in fact maybe make you more codependent on terrible habits. I want to hear a little bit with regards to your own transformation journey. How has your environment and your closer inner circle shifted from
Oh, well,
what it is now?
it's changed a lot. I think that when you're good people come in your life. So I think, I had somebody tell me, you're lucky. They said, you're lucky you have a community. And I said, once again, I told her, I was like, well, no, your hard work puts you where your blessings can find you. And before my accident, I had a big business with incredible clients that I had been there um, for years. And so they came, and now actually I needed them more than they needed me. I needed a purpose. And so I think it's really important to surround yourself with good people. And and that means not just, look, we can't get rid of some of our family. I know that, but we can set healthy boundaries in how much time we spend with them. And we can stand up for ourselves when something doesn't feel right. So I think it's important, if, we were talking on the call before we started recording about energy. And I think energy is contagious. And I think when you meet people, right away, you get that good, warm, fuzzy feeling, or you're like, oh, something's not quite right. I don't think I need to spend time with these people. And when I met y'all, I was like, yeah, how do we not know each other? I'm so grateful we met. But another way, like if you're like, I don't know, I can't tell if this person is good for me or not, is you ever get a phone call and you see that person's name pop up on your phone? If it's oh my gosh, I'm so excited, Erin's calling me, or it's like, oh God, what do they want? Even when you see somebody's name pop up on your phone, you're like, okay, that's how you tell whether they're a doggy downer or a puppy upper. And you need to stick with the puppy uppers and really start putting those boundaries up with the people who are sucking the energy out of you. And look, and I think being of service, if you are stuck in a place where you're keep focusing on the bad things that are going on in your life, the easiest way to get out of that is go be of service. Go make a phone call, go check on somebody, go see how they're doing, get out of yourself. Like, you choose to be the victim or the victor. It's your choice to go, you know what? I'm going to stop asking, why me? Why can't I get this right? Why can't I do this? And I'm just going to be like, I am the victor. I am going to do one thing today that is going to move me closer to my goals. And I'm going to focus on the small victories along the way. And I'm going to look at the people that I'm surrounding myself with. And that goes for social media too. You know, if you're on social media and you're following someone that doesn't make you feel good, then don't follow them, because that's just reinforcing the negativity in your life. So make sure that even the people that you're following on social media, that they're lifting you up, that they're reinforcing that positive mindset. So it goes for setting the healthy boundaries in your relationships, in your family, making sure that if you see somebody that's really like, oh man, I want to do that, follow it. How are they doing? If there's somebody that's doing something you want to do, be inspired by that and start taking inspired action daily by doing things one day at a time, one step at a time.
Is anybody else like running out of room on their paper?
Oh, you guys are awesome.
You know what I realize is every time we speak with somebody else, you say the same things that we say, but you say them in a way that uses different language, and everybody speaks a different language. So whereas we may say something, it's not going to be heard or received the same way as somebody else is going to say the same dang thing. And so I feel like I learn a lot. Like, don't be the victim, be the victor. I'm like, I've never heard that before. That's amazing. But we talk about not being the victim. Like, you are the product of the choices that you've made. Yes, some circumstances you may not have control over, but you have control over how you are responding to them and the actions that you take regardless of them. And you are such an inspiring example of probably one of the most extreme scenarios that I've ever heard of. So I'm grateful for your story, for the encouragement and inspiration I know you have brought to this community. And thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. I'm grateful for y'all. And you know what? I think we speak the same language from our heart. Like our hearts connect. We have that thread where we're like, we speak the same language from our hearts. And I think that when you keep putting your message out there, the right people come in contact with you. And we met on Clubhouse, of all places. We met on Clubhouse and we just started talking, and then followed each other on social media. And now here we are. And I look forward to doing even, more with you guys in the future. And I hope I get to meet you in person too. I think we would have so much fun working out together.
100%. And, we lived in California for 4.5 years. So
Where did y'all live in California?
Carlsbad.
Okay. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So, it's not going to be our last time ever being there. So when we are, we'll definitely make sure we contact you.
I hope so. I got to take y'all to dinner out here. Restaurants are open outside seating now.
If you're ever in the Miami area, please let us know too, because
I will be there because my husband's family, they're all from Miami, and we're thinking about moving there. It's between there or Texas. We're not sure. We're trying to decide, but I love Miami.
I heard Texas has terrible storms.
Yeah. My assistant is there right now. She's thinking of moving to Dallas, and she was like, I don't know, this is crazy. It's -2 degrees. I'm like, it's not usually that cold.
No.
Hey, we've already heard Tammy Bell preach about your book, and what we'd like to do is we're all about sharing the love. So what we're gonna do is a giveaway to one of our audience.
Oh, Tammy.
Audience watching, we're gonna give away a copy of your book.
Tammy, oh my gosh. I gotta take a picture of Tammy. Like she's holding my book. I am blown away. I can I video y'all? Is that okay if I can share it? Okay.
This is recorded, right?
Oh yeah. I forgot. I'm technically
Do it. Be unapologetic about it.
Do whatever you need to do.
But
okay. Tammy, look, she's got my book.
Hell yeah. And I gotta tell you, Tammy is one resilient badass, unapologetic too. So keep shining. But hey, so currently there is 47 participants. You're one of them, and so are we. So pick a number between 3 and 47.
This is for you, Amberly.
Yeah.
Oh, I picked the number?
Yeah, you do, baby.
Okay, I already have it.
Okay, go.
What is it?
13.
Jody Madison.
Madison.
Hey, I saw that you left and then came back, girlfriend. You literally changed positions on the screen because today you were supposed to win that book. I don't know for what reason.
Oh, Stephanie. See? And Jody, I'm trying to find you on the screen, Jody.
How
fun. Y'all do a giveaway. That is so fun.
Absolutely. We're all about sharing the love. So Jody, just do us a favor and email admin@erinsarit.com and give us your mailing address, and we'll be sure to send you a copy of the book. Amberly, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, where can they learn more about, who you are and what you do?
You know what, you guys, I know, like, I'm so happy to see you taking notes. If you want, I have a free downloadable, Unleash Your Superpower of Resilience. And if you just text me the word, you know what? No, I think that gives you a different journal. I'm sorry. Why don't you send me a message on Instagram at Amberly Lago Motivation? If you DM me, I will send you the link so you can have your free downloadable journal, and it goes through the PACER method. And gives you actionable steps you can take to make sure that you are, really applying it to your life. That's the best way to do it, is just message me on Instagram, Amberly Lago Motivation. That's where I hang out the most. You can check out my podcast. I have inspiring stories of resilience and turning tragedy into triumph from thought leaders, authors, and motivational speakers, and everyday people like you and me that just get on and share their story of overcoming obstacles. My book, True Grit and Grace, and my podcast, True Grit and Grace, can be found on my website at amberlylago.com, or you can also text me, y'all. You can text me at 818-214-7378. And I like to keep in touch with you. Sometimes it takes me a little bit to text back because it's me texting you back. So I would love to hear from you, any questions, input, or just to connect. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me here. I loved starting my day with you. I'm so grateful for you, and I just appreciate you being here. Time is so precious, and that you spent your morning with me means the world. So thank you so much.
And likewise.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. It is an absolute gift to, have the opportunity to just learn more about you and make this powerful connection. We know that this is the first of many times where we're going to do some epic things together. But Amberly, for you, we hope that you have an amazing day making lots of impact. And for those of you guys listening, we hope that you've gained so much value from this conversation, and we hope that you have a badass day and a badass weekend ahead. We will catch you guys on Monday at 6:30 a.m. Pacific time. Amberly, thank you once again. You guys are
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank
So this is what we
you.
do. There you go. Take care, you guys. Have a great weekend. Happy Friday.